Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Learn to Unlearn. I got to remember not to hit the table because that's going to happen if I don't. When I do, I mean. um, okay, we are recording. Good. Okay, I got my headset on. Everything's fine. We're going to go through all the bloopers that I used to do. This show is about healing. Yes, it is. It's about healing. I want to welcome everybody back to another show. And if I don't hurry up, I'm going to forget what I was going to say, and I already did. No, that's okay. This is about becoming a better person, right? This is about becoming better every day. How can I be a better man? That's what I always say. So this is about healing too, okay? In the episodes coming up to this one, we've seen, or I've been showing, that in my case, a lot of stress has a lot to do with your body's inability to heal, right? Okay. So the object then was to say, okay, I got an idea. Cut out Facebook completely. Cut out Facebook for 3 days. That's what started at first. Cut out Facebook completely for 3 days, okay? And that means not get caught up in the comments. That means not get caught up in the messenger. That means not get caught up in a wide range of things that I could get into that would take most of the show to even talk about. But it's just, no, unplug. The plug comes out of the wall, literally. So I tried that for 3 days. That's how it started. Well, once you realize that, the first day, well, it started after 12 o'clock and it wasn't really one day. So day one isn't really day one. Then you find out you're starting to enjoy it. Hmm. And then it's like, well, if I see really good things that are sent to me on Messenger, I just say thank you to the person, and if it's important enough, I log into Facebook, put it on my account, or put it on my Facebook page, and then log out immediately without even looking at anything else. No notifications, nothing. And this is day one. And then I figured, okay, so day one. Um, then I thought, why don't you do it just for the week and at least 5 days, and then just talk about it in your show like I'm doing now. So day one was what, 2 days ago. So this is day three, technically day four, but it's day three, and I want to do 5 of them. And the object of the game was to see, okay, that much stress, anxiety, anguish, compassion, just the compassionate ripping up of your soul because of what you're writing and your devotion to what you're doing. Um, without any of that, to see if it made a difference. And you know what? It has. I can say that I'm bleeding less, if not at all, pinkish color maybe, and a little bit of discharge. I mean discharge. What I mean is the blood clots. Not too much, but definitely less than before. Um, and today, about 45 minutes ago, I looked around me and I said, you know what? Uh, maybe it's not just Facebook that's that's the problem. And I looked around and I jumped out of my box, and that's a whole other ball game, and that's the second part of my show. But the first part is definitely about stepping away and listening to my own words and taking my own advice. Thank you, Luca. Nice to meet you. You shake your hand. Uh, and literally taking my own advice and stepping away from Facebook just to see if it would make a difference. So what do you do if you're not on Facebook? Well, you do camera work a bit more. You clean your guns a bit more. You go shooting at the range a bit more. Drive around for nothing a little bit more. Think of yourself a little bit more. And I started writing about those things that you do a little bit more. And as I started thinking of outside of the box, I said to myself, you know what? This is going somewhere, because most of us, see, I always want to get into part two now. Most of us aren't happy with the world we're living in, if you want to be honest enough. And that's what I want to talk about when we come back after a short break, because I didn't think I was going to go this far. But until now, it was definitely about seeing wink, wink, if, not going on Facebook at all for 3 days would help. 72 hours. At first, I thought 48, the classic 48 hours. And my friend Roger Laundrie says, no, 72. Make it 72 because anything less won't be applicable. So I said, okay, 72. And it went from there to 3, 4, 5 days. I don't want to go back on. Uh, and I found out what you're really, really involved in when you go on Facebook is, yes, the research, and it's the intensity of trying to answer people that are now awakening at a pace that I've never seen until now, more and more, and for different reasons. And you have to talk about different things, and you have to have a structured approach to helping them awaken properly. You can't be aggressive. You can't give them the water hose. You have to give them the glass, in this case, one of these. Um, so it's very touchy, and to be away from all that is just wow. It's a release. It's like when the power goes out. If anybody has noticed, no phone, no TV, no radio, no computer, nothing, and it's nice. And that thing about on Facebook about that chalet in the woods, big enough for 1 or 2 people, to be there for a month without electricity, without, yes, I'm in. Even if you don't get $1 million or whatever the amount was after you finish the month, I would love it. I would probably be drooling for a place like that right about now. So, um, all that to say that, yes, it made a difference. The stress level went down, but that's not half the problem. And we're going to talk about when we come back. And welcome back. This is Luca Majno. Just want to make sure again, volume is on, headset is on. Um, this is the hard part of this segment of the show. Beep. This is the hard part of the show because first of all, I have to read, and I don't really like reading, as most of you know. I'm just not very good at it, and I never was. And the teacher always used to say, "Well, you're really bad at reading." Well, guess what? I never got that much better, but it's good exercise for me because I was scared shitless of a microphone before starting these series. 6, 7 years ago, I would never have done any of this, especially video. Good Lord. Um, the first part of this video was about realizing there's a problem, right? Okay, so Facebook is the problem. Okay, so I'm backing off of Facebook. Then I realized there's a whole other thing involved, a whole other ball of wax, like my grandmother used to say, that's involved that I've never thought of or that I never put together so in depth. And it's fun sharing it. Yeah, even though I don't feel, I feel less than normal or less than normality talking to a machine and looking at a little video. Anyway, so this part of the series is saying, wow, now that I'm off Facebook, I can really sit back and go, holy shit, the problem is really a lot bigger than that, right? Um, so I asked myself, questions that I have to read, and don't mind me. I asked myself, I said, why is it so hard to adapt? What's the problem? And for any of you that that know the Bible or that know cultural and religious writings and prophecies and stuff, if you're into that, well, there's this one wise person that once said that yes, you do live here, but you don't have to act like those around you. You live here, but you don't come from here. And I started applying that motto in my life, because it's true. I didn't make the world around me. I completely, I do not agree. I had a T-shirt that said "I do not agree" at one time, and a lot of people found that profoundly. Um, what's the word? It bothered them anyway. So um, my world that I want to live in is not the world from here. It's not my world at all, at all, at all. Right down to the shoes you put on in the morning and why. You know, everything is geared for a slave's life. And it's geared towards the profits of the slave driver. And to put it quite simply, the system is rigged so that the slave can only dream all his life about having a good life like his master does, but he never will because he was never able to, and he never will be able to under such a system. And as we love to, I love bringing back memes from Facebook because this one is great. It says, you know, the system isn't broken. You know, it was built this way. It literally was built to be this way. Another example is how people are so damn indifferent to one another. Have you noticed? Okay. I have, it's like the moral duty. It's like an obligation for me to, you know, help my, you know, 92-year-old neighbor. Yes, I call her Carol, but she, you know, she doesn't like to be called 92-year-old neighbor. She doesn't like to be reminded of how old she is. But it's like a moral obligation. It's so much fun. I live right next to her. So we have coffee all the time. We call each other all the time. She comes over with food at 92. When I was, you know, when I wasn't able to, when I had catheters up the yin yang and I couldn't move even, I couldn't tie my shoes, let alone dream of bending down, she'd be over here helping me out. This is compassion. It's humanity, you know? So many humans, but no humanity, right? Same thing, okay? She's sitting out there having coffee with me one day and she says, I got to read this. She says, I remember. My neighbor smiles as she takes a deep breath of the rainfall of the late evening. She says, I remember the good old days. She says, we made pumpkin pie and we went to the far reaches of the neighborhood to make sure everybody had their slice of pie. And I made the best pumpkin pie in the county. And she looked at me and she thought she had one on me. And I came right back with my story of the so-called chief in Indian country in the times that were when responsibility was more of an honor than power was and money was. Well, indeed, I said in my turn, well, I remember, and I'm not that old yet, I remember the word chief, another European word, the leader of the tribe would take it as a pleasure, as his own duty to walk around his tribe and to make sure that everybody was taken care of, the elders, the sick, the old, the young. You'll hear me tell this story if I haven't told it twice or three times already. The chief, the leader of the tribe would go around. That was one of his things. And he would give everybody what they needed. Today, today you call for an appointment and something called the council house, or some places it's called the tribal council. Really nice building. Smells like government money, if you ask me. You know, code locked doors, two secretaries. You're lucky if you get a call back from them. Okay, so this is the way things are, and it's so immoral. It's so corrupt, and we know who we're talking about, and we know what we're talking about. Um, so I'm trying to make it a better place. Um, if I notice something in this world that I live in, it's not my world. So my writing continues. And yes, I can understand PTSD or suicide at the best of times. You know, being single, for example, facing a severely dysfunctional past, finally, you know, missing companionship the whole time. I mean, it's been 5 years since I've had a significant other. But do they really make them like they used to anymore, you know? Or has that been broken? Has that mold been broken as well? So speaking of that, and everybody kind of, you know, chokes and laughs and giggles about the poem that I wrote. I wrote this in 2012, I believe. Yes, in 2012, and I took a picture of the screenshot of my Facebook, so you guys can read along, and you ladies can read along with me. And I find this very important. Um, it's it's the real you. Okay, to me, it's also one of the very few definitions of true love that I have. You know, what you don't have. You know, talk about the real you. That's why I love you. And it's called Beautiful Are You. Beautiful are you. Beautiful are you with your uncombed hair. Beautiful are you with your unmatching socks. Beautiful are you with no money. Beautiful are you, the one I love. Beautiful are you with no car to drive. Beautiful are you with a disconnected phone. Beautiful are you with no food in the fridge. Beautiful are you, the one I love. For it matters not what you have or don't have, my love, but who you are, and that I am lucky enough to have you in my life, and that you want to be mine. See? So in this poem, what I'm trying to show is that it's got nothing to do in the heart. The heart says it's got nothing to do with your color, your, your blood quantum, where you were born geographically, who your parents are, what your social standing is, what your job is. No, the person that really loves you is the person that looks at your heart and who you are. Yes, the potential you have. I can hear the women going, but, yeah, on my side, the women usually do look at the global and the potential and try to work on it, but we always tend to try and make them out to be what we would like them to be rather than what they want to be themselves. So that's another show entirely. Before I lose listeners, we won't get into that ballpark. But this is basically, I'm glad I got through this reading it. And it was important to share because it wasn't only Facebook. Getting off of Facebook was the first thing. And then I went, wow, you know, one thing that is one of the hardest to do is to live in this world, in this, I'm not going to go and say inhumane, but the government has taught us to be this way: racist, uh, incompassionate, completely apathetic, competitive driven, the works, completely the opposite of what a matriarchal society would be like. And if the right women, I'm not talking about Hillary or anybody, I'm talking about the right women, if they were in charge, the right grandmothers, there wouldn't be any wars. There'd be a lot of countries pissed off at each other, like the elders say, but, there wouldn't be any wars. Women wouldn't put up with that. And there wouldn't be any homeless. Uh, there wouldn't be any military, It's like everything is backwards, And Graham Greene says it in that 1990 movie, a very violent one. Graham Greene and his blockbuster movie Clear Cut. It's actually a sleeper, is what they called it, because it was so good that I guess they tried to, you know, bring it down a bit, a few notches. But anyway, I don't want to make this too long, and I'm also going to be editing it with pictures. And I wanted to make sure that people understood what this week has been like. Yes, so if you stay off of Facebook, sure, that's one thing. But like I'm going back to my second or short show where I believe that I said something to the effect of keeping distance from toxic or drama people or events or anything that definitely starts you to a path to good health. And just a little reminder again that for me, and this is for me only, it works for me. You should find out what works for you. But in this case, for me, being off of Facebook one day, and then your body reacts to that one day a day later. That's how it works for me. I'm about 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours later. So if I do something really, really stressful, like right now, 8 to 10 hours from now, I'll really feel the punch from it. And that's what I had to find out. What was the mathematical guideline? How does the body work? And the one of the best people I worked with, the shortest amount of time, helped me show me that. And that's how your body reacts to the stuff you go through. So it's no joke. And thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week. God willing. Have a good one. Thanks. Have a good week.